Pagodas. What is a pagoda? A pagoda is any kind of tower with multiple levels. They're called eaves. Most are built for religious purposes and hold religious relics, also called artifacts. The most common design comes from Nepal, a tiny country between India and China. These pagodas are common throughout all of South Asia. Look at the following images. What do you notice? How tall are they? How many levels do they have? Are the lines straight or curved? What colors do you see? Are there any decorations or carvings? What is around the pagoda? Here we have two different kinds of pagodas, and you can see they're different shapes. That first one is the one we were looking at from Nepal, and the other one on the right is the Iron Pagoda of Kaifeng in China, which was built in 1049. We're in 2020. That means that this was built almost 1,000 years ago, this one on the right. Look at what's around them. What's different? What's the same? What shapes do we see? What kind of decorations? What kinds of lines? How do they end at the top? Here we have two more pagodas. This one's called the 5-story pagoda, of Mount Hirago. And the one on the right is called the wooden 3-story pagoda of Ichijo-ji. I hope I didn't say that horribly wrong. In Japan, built in 1171 CE. CE stands for Common Era, which is the era that we're in right now. So this was built about 850 years ago, 900 years ago. On the right, this one is a small 1-pillar pagoda that comes out of the water. It's located in Hanoi, Vietnam. You can see there's little steps to get here. And there's our small 1-story pagoda. And if you look at the different countries, we can see that each country sort of has its own design. The Japanese pagoda here has these pointed tips. This one has the pointed tips. This one is not so pointed. This temple on the left, this pagoda here on the left, is called Nyatapola Temple, located in Bhaktapur, Nepal. It was built in 1701 to 1702, so it's about 300 years old. This one on the right is a tower in Taipei, and you can see that it is very modern. This was built recently, but still following the same rules of the pagoda with this multi-tier levels. This is actually located in the United States. This one's called the Bombardier Pagoda, and it's at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Indiana. You can see how they're still using the rules of the pagoda, but using modern materials and modern lines to change the traditional pagoda into something more modern. All right, what's next? After I get done talking, you're going to press the pause button, get your paper and pencil ready, and we are going to draw that pagoda. So go ahead and hit pause and get your supplies, and then we'll be right back. All right, let's get started on our pagodas. So to get started, you need a piece of paper. We're going to use it the tall way, which is landscape, pencil, eraser, and if you want, you can use a ruler. I'm going to just to make those lines nice and straight when they go across the pagoda, but you can choose to do something a little bit more freeform if you want. Let's start by folding our paper to get some guidelines. So we're going to fold those bottom 2 corners up to the top, line them up, put our finger in the middle, come down, and then go out. And we're going to do it one more time. Fold the bottom 2 corners up to the top, finger down the middle, and out to the sides. We'll open it, and we're going to fold it once the opposite direction. Okay? So we should end up with 8 rectangles when we're done. We're going to open it up. I like to keep my folds pointing down. This bottom one here, I'm going to just refold so it stays down. I have my 8 rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This center line is going to be the middle of my pagoda. I'm going to use that to make sure that I keep my drawing straight. I'm going to start at this first line here, and I'm going to draw, put my ruler right on that line, and I'm going to draw a line. I don't want to make it too big because we still want to have room for those curved edges. And I'm going to make a second line right below it. Trying to make it as even as possible so these lines look parallel. And then remember, I spread my fingers apart, and I'm just going to pull my pencil across. I'm going to do 2 lines going straight down. Okay, now we're going to put our next layer up. If you want, you can take your ruler here on the side, and we can draw another little line up here just to sort of let us know where that's going to be. And then we'll make this even. I like to line my ruler up with the top line and then use my ruler as a gap so that I know they're parallel here. Okay. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to come up here and do another one. And I want it to be about the same gap. So I know it's about as big as my thumbnail. We're just going to eyeball this. If you want to measure it all out, you can, but you don't have to. And we're going to put a second line here. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We're not going to put that one line up. We just want to have that second line there as a guide. This line is actually going to be wider. I don't know what I'm thinking. So we're going to make this line go a little bit wider. And then we're going to put 2 lines going up and down right in between these 2. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to do the same thing here. So I've got about that much. Okay, draw a little line. Okay, so there's my first layer. I am going to next do my curly layer. So that's why I made this one a little bit bigger. And I'm going to make this one curve up nice and high. I'm going to round it out. And then I'm going to bring it back to about here. So if I want, I can just sort of draw a light line here to give me a guideline. And then I know I can draw a line across. And then we're going to connect this top to the sides. And I'm going to erase my guideline in the middle. I really didn't need that. All right, now I've got my very first tier done. So now I'm going to line up my ruler with this line, or if you're using your eyeball, just do your best to line it up. And I'm going to go ahead and go again up. And I'm going to put my ruler over here, try to line it up as straight as I can, and go straight up. Now my lines are a little wonky, and that's okay, because we have erasers. So next I'm going to do this layer again with the curl. So I'm going to go with that long line again. I'm going to set my ruler here on top of my eave, and I'm going to come straight across, and I'm going to make this one a little wider. And then I'm going to make it curve up. It's about as big as my thumb. And then I'm going to put that little guideline in nice and light. And then I can put my ruler line in here across the top. And then I'm going to do that same sort of swooping connection here and round that out. Down and up. And erase my guideline. Now, I'm going to come in a little bit more even on this one because I want to taper that. So I'm actually going to change that line a little bit and bring that out. This way, I can start to get that going in a little. So next I'm going to draw a line straight up from here and straight up from here. So this should be a little bit more narrow than the one below it. And then for this top layer, I'm still going to do my ruler line. So I line it up at the top of that eave, come across. I'm going to make this connect. And then for this top, I'm going to have it come out and up, just like the other ones, out and up. But instead of coming out to a square, I'm going to have it come up to a point. And that, I still have that middle line here, so I know right where the center is. Okay, now I can erase that. And I have the start of my pagoda. I've got the whole outline done now. Okay, we're doing great. Now, for the details, I like to add some details. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to mark that center point on all of my eaves, and then I'm going to have a line that comes straight down, and then these other ones I'm going to make them come out so that they look, my eaves look rounded. So notice how I did that little curve at the bottom. I'm going to have this one come out. They should be fairly symmetrical, so do your best. I'm not too concerned. And I'm going to do the same thing here, except instead of coming from that center point, I'm actually going to not have it in the center. I'm going to do, no I am, I'm going to keep it in the center. I'm going to make these ones come out from here, and I'm going to keep making them come out like so. If you want to, you could do one more. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do the same thing here, straight down. 1, 2, 3. Come out here, 1, 2, and 3. All right, now we should have some other details going through here. So you could add some carvings. I'm just going to add some vertical lines to break this up. And maybe I'll do like 2 lines on each. And then a line here. By changing the line width, I'm also changing the interest. So my eye moves a little bit differently on each of these levels. So I have these fairly wide and I have these narrow. I'm actually going to use my ruler to just mark all of them at once. If you're using a ruler, it makes it a lot easier because I can just go straight down on these bottom 2 tiers because they're the exact same size. Okay, 1, 2, and this one. All right. I may even draw another little one over here. Nice and skinny. So we've got our pagoda well on its way. Now, for the next step, it's your choice. Oops, I forgot the middle ones. Let's put those in. 1 and 2. And then 1 and 2. And 1 skinny one over here. So now, you have a choice. If you want to, you can add some steps coming out like we saw in that one pagoda. So I would just make these a little bit wider each time. And I'm going to turn my paper. It's a lot easier for me to keep my lines straight when I turn my ruler. I'm going to come out like this. I'm going to do the same thing here. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Okay. One last step. All right, now I have my whole pagoda, and I have my steps coming up. I could, put in some kind of mountainy background. I could just do sky. That's up to you, however you want to do this. Maybe I'll leave this side flat. Okay. If you want to trace this with Sharpie, you can. We are going to go in with colored pencil and or crayon or marker, probably colored pencil though, and add our lines or add our colors and our designs to it. So you don't necessarily have to go in with a Sharpie, but you can if you want. All right, my friends, if you have any trouble, either send me a message in Schoology or bring this on Friday in progress so that I can see where you're at, and I will see you Friday.